You may be asking yourself, Dave, what happened to your MacBook? I saw some videos that were edited a little bit differently, like the pop-up of the name there maybe. You saw me get a MacBook, and then the videos went back to looking the same. What happened? Let's talk about it right now. Hey everyone, Dave K here, and today I want to talk to you about what happened to my MacBook. So, you may have seen in my other video, the most expensive purchase that I've made video. I bought myself a MacBook and I was so excited for it. I'd not had a MacBook ever before, and I heard it was great for editing. It was going to be really good for the solid state drive. It would boot up more quickly. iMovie's on there to be able to edit, and I can also use another application on there for editing. So there's so many options on that front as well. I really wanted a laptop too to be able to travel and edit on the go, and it didn't quite work out for me. So you may be asking yourself, what happened exactly? Well, let me tell you. For starters, I was looking at getting a MacBook. I'm like, okay, what kind of MacBook would work for me? And I collected recommendations from a lot of people and heard that maybe something between 2014 and 2016 MacBook-wise might be good, especially since some of the newer machines didn't have all the same USB plugins, if you will, or some of those different capabilities, as well as they were just kind of built differently. They're not as focused on the power in so much as kind of the sleekness and the flexibility, if you will, or being able to carry it around with you easily. I'm like, all right, well, I want a powerful machine. Let me see if I can find a refurbished machine somewhere between that 2014 to 2016 time frame. So that's what I went ahead and did, and I started shopping for one of those. And I came across a variety of different websites. I looked at Apple's refurbished website and I saw some machines there, but I received a recommendation from a friend to look at a website called Mac of All Trades. So I looked at a website over there and they had refurbished Macs as well, and it was significantly cheaper than on Apple's website, and they offered warranties and that sort of thing. So I figured to myself, okay, why not? I'll go ahead and get this MacBook from that website. So I found myself a 2015 with all the specs that I was looking for, with a graphics card so that I could maybe play some games, and a good CPU and good RAM, that kind of thing. And so I went ahead and got that laptop on the Mac of All Trades website. So as I said, I went ahead and got that laptop from the Mac of All Trades website, and I ordered everything I wanted on there, the warranty and all those sorts of things, and I waited for it to arrive. And so I waited for the machine, and I got the machine, and when I looked at the machine, it looked okay. It had a little bit of dings here and there. I did order it in good condition, so it wasn't perfect or very good. I knew it would have some cosmetic difficulties, if you will, or some cosmetic issues. So I'm like, okay, that's fair, it's understandable. But I went ahead and opened up the machine and I booted it up, and it seemed to work okay, except for the fact that the battery bar was jumping all over the place. Like, it would jump up and it would jump down. When the machine wasn't even plugged in, it would jump up. And I tried to do some work on there, and I was working, and when it was plugged in, it seemed to work okay. And I let it unplugged for about 30 minutes while a video was exporting, and it was completely off. And the battery was full after I was using it initially, so I was trying to figure out what was going on there, and the battery did not work at all. The battery had no life whatsoever. It was practically a desktop, except it looked like a laptop because it had to be plugged in all the time. So I went ahead and reached out to that company and I said, hey, there's something wrong with the battery here. I'm not sure what's going on. And they said, okay, we'll try this reset stuff. And I tried the reset stuff, reset how it looked, and it didn't really fix the problem. And again, I continued to have that sort of very short battery life. So they said, okay, well, you can go ahead and ship that back to us, and we'll take a look and we'll check it out. So I shipped the laptop back to them for them to let me know what was going on with that battery. And they said, yep, sure enough, there was a critical failure in the battery in the machine we sent you. We must have missed that, and we'll go ahead and send you a new one. And I said, okay. And I didn't realize at this point in time, and fortunately I realized soon enough, that the return policy was a 14-day return policy. So if I wanted to cancel my order, I had 14 days to do it from the time of the original machine purchase. So I got that one machine, it didn't work out. They shipped me another machine, and I got that second machine, and I plugged it in, and you could tell this was a different machine because, some of the cosmetic issues were a little bit different. It looked nice, But I plugged it in, and the power, that's kind of the top component of that keyboard right above where the function keys are, if you will, on a regular Windows computer, or the power keys, that kind of thing, where the touch bar might be on a Mac. But this is an older Mac, so it didn't have a touch bar. But where that would be was really, really hot, doing very simple functions, just like turning the machine on. Would get extremely hot, so hot I couldn't even have the machine on my lap. And you know me and heat, I'm pretty comfortable with the heat. So it was extremely hot, doing almost nothing on that computer. I didn't even get to use it for that much, like editing anything. In addition, I also noticed some swelling. So I felt that really hot keypad touch bar area, if you will, but I also noticed some swelling in the back right corner where you'd imagine the battery pack would be. So it kind of made it difficult to open and close the monitor. It was kind of almost looked like it was popping out. Something was popping out that back right corner, and both of those things made me really worried about the battery. So I looked into it and I'm like, okay, this is kind of tricky. I just got this machine today, and I reached out to them and I said, hey, you know, I'm curious, what's the return? I saw your return policy was 14 days. Is that from this machine, since you had to replace the last one? They're like, no, that's from the very first machine you got. And that was day 13, I believe it was. So first thing, next morning, I'm like, look, I'm returning this. Please send me a full refund. This machine doesn't work for me, and I don't want to wait and find out that this one didn't work out either. So I went ahead and canceled that order, and I sent the machine back to them to get that refund. And so the machine received, they received the machine a couple days later, and it took about a week for them to process the machine and to start the refund process, which should take another week. At the time I'm making this video, I'm still waiting for it. Hopefully, by the time you see this video, I will have the refund back. But it was a little bit tough. I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to return this machine where I had gotten 2 defective machines, pretty much, if you will, from this website. So just, you know, trying to get that computer, none of them worked. I just went ahead and said, okay, you know, I'm not. This is an expensive purchase. I'm not going to risk potentially holding onto this machine and having something that doesn't work. So overall, pretty much right now, I'm just continuing to work on the Windows, you know, desktop computer I've had before. I'm fortunate that I have it and that it works well for me. I'm going to keep my eyes open, keep my ears open for a potential laptop, and MacBook would be great in the future, but we'll see. I might just end up getting a laptop. I'd love something that travels. Maybe I will get a MacBook. Maybe I'll keep my eyes open on Black Friday as well. Black Friday, I think, would be a great time for me to consider different MacBook options. I also heard from some friends that the CPU on the newer computers, even if it's a much lower gigahertz, if you will, is still a lot better than an older computer with more gigahertz, just because they've improved the quality of those chips, or something along those lines. I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to some of this technology stuff, but that's what I heard, and so I'm really looking forward to keeping my eyes open for that and seeing if I can find a machine that works in the future. But that is the short version of what happened to my laptop, why I don't have a MacBook anymore. I'm glad it worked out and I was able to return the machine. It was a little bit scary at times where I had that second machine and I only had one more day to get that return processed, or waiting for a week to hear back that my return was processed and that everything worked out okay. But overall, again, I'm glad it worked out. You know, it could always be worse, and things are good. I'm fortunate to be able to have the computer that works for me right now, but you will see those videos continuing to look like they always have, with that same editing process, with the same kind of text overlay that I've generally had. Not that one video or the 2 videos that had that nice iMovie editing to them, but just the typical editing that you've seen me use. And maybe I'll get a different editing software for my Windows as well. So we'll have to keep our eyes open and see what our options are. There's lots of, you know, potential. There's lots of future possibilities. Might get a laptop, might get a MacBook. We'll see what our options are. But overall, I'm glad everything's working out for now. I'm glad I was able to make that return, and I'm going to hesitate in the future to get a refurbished, especially like a MacBook refurbished. It's especially not from Apple's website. It's worrisome for me because it is such an expensive purchase. And as much as, I don't know, do those newer MacBooks, will they have the processing power that I want? Will they be able to do what I need? Maybe they will. So maybe I'll end up looking at some of the newer machines on a Black Friday or something along those lines. It looks like I could maybe even get a lower tier, if you will, newer machine for less expensive than an older machine with a higher tier. So that was an interesting component as well. I'm like, oh, okay, well maybe that does make sense. But there would be a question of, okay, will this work for me? And how do I make sure of that before, if there's no return policy, there's no way for me to make sure of that before I return it. So those are all things that I want to keep in mind as I'm considering the laptop that I'm going to get, if I'm going to get a MacBook, that kind of thing. But overall, again, everything worked out okay. Just don't have that machine anymore. And I'm looking forward to continuing to improve the process. You know, I want to share different adventures with you. I want to continue to edit and work on that editing process. So I'm going to keep seeing what I can do. And if you have any thoughts, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you have any suggestions? Do you think everything looks good on this Windows? I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. One more thing I wanted to touch on in terms of the computer. I don't know how soon I'll get a new computer in terms of getting that laptop or getting a Macbook. I might wait till Black Friday. I actually got this computer Black Friday of last year, and it has worked really well for me. You know, I got it primarily for gaming and being able to play games and stream games and make gaming videos on YouTube or on Twitch, and it's worked out quite well for me. So maybe I'll keep my eyes open on Black Friday, but I might wait as well. I'm not 100% sure, but those are just kind of the thoughts going through my mind in terms of, you know, will I get another computer? When would I get one? I like to just try to be as efficient as I can and not have anything more than I need, but at the same time, I'd love to be able to have a machine that I could take with me on the go, or a machine that would make my editing faster and more efficient, something that would respond more quickly, if you will, as I'm editing those files or importing those files or trying to export the files. So those are all things that I'm thinking about and I'm keeping in mind. And again, totally open to your thoughts in the comments below. And we'll see. We'll see how things work out. Overall, things are working really well right now. It's just a question of how can we improve, make it faster, more efficient, and also how can I get something that works for me on the go. So those are kind of the two questions as to why am I considering a MacBook or why am I considering a laptop, just to give you some insights on that. Thank you so much for being a part of the fun with me today. For more fun, family-friendly adventures, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay informed. Let me know what you thought of this video and what you'd like to see more of. I hope you've been enjoying these sort of discussions and looks at sort of what's going on in life and where I am, and whether it's the editing process, the video process, life in general. So thanks so much for being a part of it with me. Looking forward to seeing you real soon, and play on.